As I stand here, I ponder greater things. You're no longer.
All right, Steve Miggs here. I'm here with Kevin from Candlebox. Kevin, always great to see you here. Sold out show at the Snoqualmie Casino. I got to ask, you're back in the Northwest. What are those emotions like to come back to the area that you first got your first start in making things and making what Candlebox became?
It's strange, man. My brother lives not too far from here. My mom lives with my brother. I mean, it's kind of I come home to this place and I feel like home.
Yeah.
But then I remember I live in Los Angeles and that I only need to be here for 24 to 48 hours, and I like that. But when it's beautiful out like this, I'm like, I should probably move back to Seattle because it doesn't happen like this in LA so much. But no, it's really great, man. I mean, I've got so many friends coming tonight, and I get to see the guys from Sweetwater when I'm in town, and the Green Apple Quick Step Cats, and there's a lot of great memories here. And I mean, next year's the 30th anniversary of the debut album, so we got something special planned for that next year. And
I know I saw recently it was like the 27th anniversary of Lucy. It's got to be a
nuts.
trip because it feels almost like yesterday when you hear these songs and they're just so timeless. It's got to be a trip to know that they've been around for 3 decades.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, thank God they're timeless. Yeah, man. I mean, it's amazing to me. It still pays my rent, and that's a beautiful thing. I when we started this band back in '91, there was a lot going on in the city. There's a lot of magic happening, and we were just hoping that somehow it would rub off on us, and a little bit of it did, and here we are 30 years later, still playing shows and selling out, casinos and the Paramount Theater and the Moore Theater, whatever it is. I mean, it's pretty special. I get butterflies. I still get nervous when I come here to play shows. I don't get that way in any other city.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's a lot of people here watching to see what happens. And, 30 years later, hopefully that this thing still works. And, but I got a great band and I love my guys now. And, that's not to discount Pete and Barty and Scott who, have lives outside of Candlebox. But, I'm fortunate to have guys that I play with over the 30 years that I love, and I just enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely. And we talk about playing the sold out shows and this tour. You're coming towards the end of the tour. You have a few more dates left. I'd like to go back to that first show. I mean, the world shut down, and that must have been hard for musicians and artists because that's the bread and butter, is playing these live shows. And then all of a sudden, you can't do that. And now you get to do it again. I know as a music of concert goer, that first show back was surreal and weird, but it was like a celebration to be around other people again and enjoy live music. What was it like for you, the musician, the person that goes up on stage that first show back? Do you remember any crazy memories that go back in your head when that first show happened again?
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't sung in 2 years, so it was,
Sing for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's an odd thing, as a singer, I'm a reluctant lead singer. I was a drummer before I joined Candlebox, and so I've never really had that kind of. I sing every day and I do my sort of thing, like it's just. I was a drummer, and then all of a sudden I got this job singing in Candlebox, and 30 years later I'm still doing it. So I don't sit at home and sing, an hour and a half worth of music every day. I'm playing guitar, or I'm playing drums, or I'm doing something else. So that first show was a little odd for me. I remember I was super cautious in the first 3 songs, like just not pushing my voice very hard, and feeling like it actually feels pretty good, and then I went after it, and then 6 songs and I'm like, oh, this is cakewalk.
Yeah.
But the mindset was, am I going to be able to do this? Because it's been almost 2 years since I'd performed.
Right.
So it was weird, but we got through it, and then the next show was cake, and from that moment on, it was pretty awesome. It just was great to be around people again, like you said, and to see bands that we toured with back in the day, we were playing shows with, and to catch up with them and catch up with what was going on in their world for 20 months of not playing music. But it was pretty awesome. I think the first show back was in Rocklahoma in Oklahoma, and it was hot and stinky and dirty and fun, but it was great.
That's a damn great rock show right there. Hot, stinky, dirty, and fun.
Yeah.
That could be the name of the next tour record.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, one last quick question. I keep reading about and hearing about a documentary. When is that coming out? Do you have a projected date? I heard fall of this year. So I was just kind of curious when we're going to see that Candlebox documentary.
I think what's happening is they're going to release it in the spring because we have a box set of the first 3 Candlebox records coming out with a bunch of unreleased stuff. That's like 7 or 8 vinyls. And that's to celebrate, obviously, the 30 years of the band. So I think the documentary is going to come out in the spring. and that just basically tells the story of the band that that a lot of people don't know are from Seattle, and that 30 years later still have a career. So it's cool, it's fun. I've seen the first 20 minutes of it, and it's so.
Is it weird knowing that you have a documentary about yourself
Yeah.
and your art?
It is, and it's interesting because it's like no holds barred. There's a lot of stories in this documentary about the band over the years that I think people are going to be shocked about, and maybe didn't expect to know that, we didn't have a heroin problem, but we had other problems, and we somehow survived and made it through all of it, and then took a long unfortunate break from 2006, but it goes through all of that, and it tells those stories of what Barty did when he left, what Scott did when he left, what Pete did when he left, and how I tried to carry this on and continue to carry this torch of this band. And it's cool, and it's interesting, and I haven't seen what Barty and Pete and Scott have to say, and they haven't seen what I have to say. So it's going to be interesting, and I think Barty's coming tonight and Scott's coming tonight. Pete lives in Tampa, but it's going to be great.
Did you watch it all together the first time, or is that something?
I don't know about that. We have to contact our attorneys probably.
Well, I appreciate you taking some time out. I know, man, sold out show tonight. Looking forward to seeing you guys live. You always kill it, and I'm looking forward to the documentary when that does come out.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to see you guys.
Yeah, Kevin from Candlebox.